We are in a series called The Jesus Filter. We're going through the Gospel of Mark, and we're looking at how Jesus determined what he was going to give his time to, his energy to, who he said yes and no to. And we're being challenged to examine that filter in our lives, because a lot of us, if we're honest, we would say that our life is a series of decisions that are kind of made on automatic. Meaning, we were handed a filter, maybe by our family, maybe by the culture, and it determines what gets in and what gets out, and we're not necessarily very intentional with what that looks like. And so Jesus is going to challenge us by living his life in the Gospel of Mark. Mark, as we saw last week, is this gospel that's written kind of in real time. Mark loves to use the word immediately. He's just going from one story into the next. And so as we go with Jesus on that journey, we get to see, okay, how does he do this? Like, how did he make decisions, and how did he determine direction, and how did he set boundaries? Because all of us have a filter that needs to be checked. I like filter as a controlling metaphor because we intuitively understand what it does. That it says no to some things so it can say yes to some other things, right? And there are lots of examples of this. You've got air filters and oil filters, and you've got, phone filters that filter out the spam likely calls, and you've got email filters that filter out the junk mail, all kinds of filters. All of them are saying no to some things so they can say yes to some other things, right? So your phone is saying no to certain calls that it perceives to be sales calls or robocalls. Your email is saying no to automatic car or updated car warranty offers and Nigerian princes that need money, because it's trying to make sure you see what's important to you. And so the question is, with your life filter, how's this working? What are you saying no to so you can say yes to what God has for you? And we're just studying the life of Jesus in the Gospel of Mark, and here's what I'm discovering as we go through this, is that oftentimes what Jesus filtered in, we filter out. Like, said another way, what he said yes to, we say no to. What we say no to, he said yes to. And I think that's especially true in this area we're focusing on this morning in Mark chapter 2, and that's how do we deal with interruptions in life? How do we deal with interruptions? You could make an argument that most of life is an interruption. Like, so much happens to us that we have no control over, that we didn't plan, that we weren't ready for, and we didn't expect. So how do you filter these interruptions? Jesus said yes to interruptions a lot, an uncomfortable amount. Now, that's not to say he didn't have boundaries. He did. We saw this in Mark chapter 1 last week, that Jesus was okay saying no to people sometimes. He was okay with disappointing people so he could say yes to God and yes to those closest to him. So he would set boundaries, but so many times he would say yes to different interruptions. And what I just found so convicting in this gospel is how many times he said yes to what I say no to. The interruptions we avoid, Jesus seemed to welcome. The people we dismiss, Jesus noticed. The boundaries we guard against, he crossed. The disruptions we resent, he embraced. The people we screen out, he sought out. The interruptions that we often call distractions, he had a way of seeing as divine appointments. And so Jesus said yes to a lot of what we have built our lives saying no to. And so I want to take you through one of the most chaotic, most disruptive scenes in the entire Gospel of Mark as we see how Jesus handles an interruption in Mark chapter 2.